Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to show you guys my fall TBR. So today, like I said, I'm going to show you my fall TBR. I have lots of books to read this fall. I'm hoping to get to all of them, but if I don't, then I'll push them back for next fall. So we're going to get started with the very bottom of this big fall TBR stack. So the first one I hope to read, which I was given by my great aunt last year, was Hagar by Lois Henderson. This is a biblical book. I'm very into reading about the Bible and that because I'm religious, I'm a Christian. If that bothers you with this video, then you can stop watching, but if it doesn't, then continue to watch. I don't want to offend anybody, so. But this one I'm really looking forward to reading. Hagar wasn't really talked about a lot in the Bible in my perspective from what I've been reading and rereading about him. So I'm really looking forward to this one. When he is talked about in the Bible, it's mostly about Abraham and him and his wife and children and sons and all that. So I'm really looking forward to reading this to see how it is. See if I can get some more perspective on how Hagar was as a person in the Bible. Next one I'll be reading, which was also given to me by my great aunt, is book 2 in the Above the Line series by Karen Kingsbury. This one is called Take 2, which it's basically about, if I can find it, let's see here. It's basically about the Addams family, and they talk about, the one daughter talks about her rise to fame in Hollywood, so it basically talks about that. Hopefully I'll like it. I liked book 1, so I'm hoping I'll like this one. The next one is The Last Illusion by Rise Bowen. I actually have a book friend on one of my social media accounts that follows me and says that she really likes Rise Bowen books. I've never read them. I planned to read this back in August, but I didn't get to it. So I'm really hoping I can read it in September or October. Probably more October, because October I read mostly Halloween, mystery, murder books. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. This one is basically about a private detective that she has a ticket to see Harry Houdini, the world famous illusionist. So it talks about that, and then there's a murder that happens. So hopefully I'll like that one. The next one will be Trixie Belden, The Secret of the Mansion. I've never read any of these books. I actually picked this up at my post office free book table by the door, and I saw that it was published in like the 1960s or something, and so I asked my mom. My mom's like, I've never read those books. So I'm really looking forward to reading this, and if I like it, I'm hoping to find more in this series. In a way, the cover reminds me of Nancy Drew, so I'm hoping I'll really like this one. The next one will be The Story Sisters by Alice Hoffman. As you know, I've read other Alice Hoffman books, The Red Garden, forget what other one I read by her, but I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I still haven't read Practical Magic. I still need to find that one. That one is really hard to find, especially from my library. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. The next one is Look Again by Lisa Scotland. I picked this up off the free books table at my post office, and from whoever had it before, they wrote on the cover saying it's a good book, so I'm very intrigued about that. I'm looking forward to reading this one. It's basically about a woman who gets a flyer asking if she's seen a child in the mail, and she almost throws it away, but then she looks again and she realizes the boy on it looks exactly like her adopted son. So it basically tells about, she goes on that journey to find out if her adopted son is the missing child, and talks about that. The next one will be Tried and True by Mary Connolly. This one is book 1 in the Wild at Heart series. I've read other Mary Connolly books. I really liked them, so I'm hoping to read this one, and hopefully I'll like it as well. It's basically about the youngest sister of the Wild sisters, and talks about she wants to serve in the Civil War, but that's not allowed because she's a woman. So basically talks about feminism back then and all of that. And since that's a big issue in this country, I feel like this is a must read. So I'm hoping to get to it in later this month, September, or read it in November. The next one is Don't Open the Door by Allison Brennan. This is another one I picked up on the free books table at my local post office. I've never read a book by Allison Brennan. The funny thing is, I went to school with a girl with the last name of Brennan. I don't think she's related to this author, but I just found that a coincidence. This is basically about a U.S. Marshal who never bought the FBI theory that his 10-year-old son's murder was tied to her job. So it basically talks about that. She tries to uncover that. And I'm hoping the title, Don't Open the Door, has something to do with the storyline of this book. So I'm really looking forward to this one. Hopefully I can read. Okay, so the next book in my fall TBR will be No Safe Place by Joanne Ross. I read a contemporary Christmas book by her once before, and I didn't really care for it. So I'm going to read this one that's, it's a police protocol or detective mystery. So I'm hoping I like this one better than I did her Christmas one. And this one is basically about, excuse me, allergy season. This one's basically about a Chicago homicide detective who is defending her victims. Which is why, despite death threats, she's terrifying to a federal grand jury about a local police corruption. So it basically talks about that. In a way, this reminds me of CBS's Blue Bloods meets Rookie Blue, The Rookie Feds, all those that I used to watch. I still watch Blue Bloods, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. The next one I plan to read is Expecting to Die by Lisa Jackson. I don't really like the title of this, but I haven't read a Lisa Jackson book before, so I'm really looking forward to this one. This one is mainly about killers that aren't just the stuff of legends and campfires. So basically it talks about that. It's about a detective who's counting down the days until she's on maternity leave. She's exhausted and emotional, and the last thing she needs is another suspected serial killer. So basically it talks about that. I'm looking forward to reading this. I just don't like the title of it because it's kind of eerie to me. But on the back it does say it takes place in the dark woods, deep in there. And then there's something deadly that happens. So I think this will be a good book to read in October. The next one will be... Oh, I'm losing my books. The next one will be When You See Me by Lisa Gardner. I read another book by Lisa Gardner. Oh, Touch and Go. I really, really liked it. So I'm hoping I'll like this one as well. This one is about a FBI agent that lives in Georgia, and she recruits a sergeant and a survivor turned Avenger, and they join the federal task force to look for this infamous killer. So I'm really looking forward to that one. The next one will be a cozy, Stirring the Pot, a cookbook nook mystery. By Daryl Wood Gerber. I have never read any of his cozies before. This one has recipes in the back, so I'm really looking forward to it. This one is mainly, it takes place during Halloween in California. It's about a witches group. It's a fundraising group. and that they open up their purse strings and trade superstitions about a murder. So that I'm really looking forward to that one. Okay, the next ones I'll be reading will be, let's see here. My cat's in the, I had it open, so it's kind of hard for my phone to sit up while I'm filming. But the next one will be another Lisa Gardner, which will be Find Her. This one is basically about a woman who feels like she's a victim, and then she turns survivor, and then she becomes reckless. So it basically talks about that. I feel like it's connected to this one because it talks about the female character in this book on the back of this one. So I think when I read these, I'll just have to read them back to back to make the connection. The next one will be 2 Harlan Coben books. I have never read any of his books, but I've seen his movies are supposed to be really, really good. So I picked these up off of my post office free books table, which is The Woods and Caught. So I'm really looking forward to reading these. They're each about a prosecutor and a reporter who are trying to help solve a murder and find out why somebody was viciously murdered. So I'm really looking forward to those. The next one will be Sandra Brown's Envy. As you know, in August, I was really into reading about Sandra Brown, and so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Hopefully it's as good as the other ones were. There was one I just didn't care for by her. I forget what one that was, but I'm really looking forward to reading this one. The next ones will be The Pursuit by Lori Wick. I have not read or finished the series by her, so I'm really looking forward to that. It's basically set in 1813 about a man who has enjoyed a great adventure in Africa with his brother. But now his brother has returned to England, and Edward is hoping to come home for Christmas. So it basically talks about that. This one I'll probably read in November since it talks about Christmas. And usually any books pertaining to Christmas I try to save for closer to December. So I think I'll read this one in November. The next one is The Secret Hope by Shelley Shepherd Gray. I read book 1 last year, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. This is actually book 3, so I have to get book 2 as well. But it talks about 2 years ago, this Amish woman visited Florida. She decided to make a fresh start there, so she's ready to be new and improved and leave her past in the past with no secrets. But at first, everything goes well. She gets a job, her co-workers feel like family, and she enjoys reconnecting with her friends. But it turns out the past is reluctant to be left behind. She meets a hardworking farmer and basically discovers that he isn't staying long in Pinecraft, and he lives just a few miles from her hometown in Ohio. She doesn't want him to know about the life she left behind, so she's kind of torn whether to tell him or not. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I'll probably read it. I'm hoping to read it this month, but if not, I might read it in October, since I think it's set in October. Yeah, it's set in October, so I think I'll read it next month. Next one will be Granite Harbor by Peter Nichols. This one I won through Bookish First a few months ago. I'm really looking forward to it because it's set in Maine, and it's about how the coastal city of Maine was shaken by the core of a serial killer in this crime novel. So it basically talks about a teenager was brutally murdered in the settlement, which is the town of Maine, and the town's historic archaeological site. So this man, boy, teenager, whatever, is adjusting to life as a single father with a failed career as a novelist in the town's, and is the town's sole detective. So he basically has to solve that murder about the missing teen. So I'm really looking forward to reading that one. I'm hoping to read it this month, but I probably won't get to it till next month. The next one is The Devil Amongst the Lawyers by Sharon McCrubb. This one I picked up off the free books table at my local post office. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. This one is basically about set in 1935 when this woman, she's a beautiful woman with a teaching degree, is charged with murder of her father in a remote Virginia mountain community. The case becomes a cause of celebrity for the national press. So it basically tells about, she goes through this whole trial and to find out if she really killed her father or not. I find that very interesting. I don't know if I've ever read one that's like that. I've watched TV shows where that's kind of talked about, so I'm looking forward to that one. The next one is Sunrise by Grace Livingston Hill. This one was my great-grandma's. I haven't read it in a while, so I'm really looking forward to reading it again. It's basically about a man who works at a bank, and then he works at like a sawmill. So it's like a very country-based contemporary fiction. I'm looking forward to rereading it. Hopefully I can fit it in this month, but if not, I'll probably read it in November. The next couple ones are rereads for me, so I'll just mention those, and you guys probably find them familiar. To Win Her Favor by Tamara Alexander. I've read her other books and really liked them. This one I reread 5 years ago, so 2019-ish. So I'm looking forward to rereading again. It's basically about an Irish man that's far from home. He does horse races in England, so it basically talks about that. I'm looking forward to rereading it. The next ones will be the Prayer Jar series by Wendy Brunstetter. You guys probably remember I reread this 5 years ago, so I'm looking forward to rereading it again. I'd like to fit them in this month, but I probably won't get to them until November. If not, then I'll just put them back on the pile for next year. And then the next one to reread will be An Anonymous Girl by Greer Hendricks as Sarah Peckham. This one I'm really looking forward to reading. I read it back in 2018 for a book club discussion, and I really liked it, but I didn't have the physical at the time. A couple years ago, I joined the Book of the Month group where they sell, like, members in there sell their books that they don't want anymore. So I got this one, and I really, really wanted it because I really liked the book. So now I can reread it, and hopefully I'll still like it. The next one I'll be rereading will be the Summerhill Secrets series by Beverly Lewis. I have the individual books out on my TBR for fall, but I don't know if I'll get to them all, so I hope to read this instead. Reread it. Okay, the next ones, we're down to the wire, guys. The next ones will be Family Blessings by Fern Michaels. I picked this up off the free books table at my post office. Since it's set in Thanksgiving, I'm hoping to read it in November, so hopefully I'll like it. Next one is The Lesson by Susan Woods Fisher. This one I read book 1 in it. This is book 3, so I still have to read book 2 as well, but I'm looking forward to reading them very soon. Next one, which I've had a while and I need to read it because I have to get the review up on Library Thing, is Red Velvet. This is book 2 in the From the Heart series. Book 1 is Midnight Blue. Oh, this is part of the Love and Color series, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. It's basically about a woman who has a catering job, and it basically talks about that. The next one will be Gorgeous Gruesome Faces. I still have not gotten to this one. This one I won on Bookish First back in May. I'm hoping to get to it, even though I'm not a big horror fan, but it's basically about a K-pop singer, and she goes through the trials and tribulations of being in that and then getting out of that. So I'm really looking forward to reading it, even though it's horror. The next one which I'll be reading book 1 of this series with my cousin in October or November. The Sleuth of Blackfriars Lane. This one I'm really looking forward to because, like I said, I'm reading book 1 with my cousin in Virginia. We're gonna buddy read that. I'm hoping I'll see her in November for Thanksgiving. I'm not sure yet what our schedules are gonna be like, but I'm hoping for that. And we're gonna read book 1, and then hopefully we'll both like it. I would like to read book 1 and 2, but the way my reading's going right now, I haven't been reading a lot of series books, so we'll see how this goes. Oh, this one is basically about a wife, mother, homemaker, detective, and she helps this guy solve a murder in London in the 1887. Next one is part of a series as well. I haven't read the other books in this series, which are When the Waters Came and When Hope Sank. It's the A Day to Remember series, and this is When the Flames Ravage by Rhonda Dragmere. This is about 1944, during the World War. It's about the Ringling Brothers. Now, if you've seen the movie The Greatest Showman, that's kind of like what this book is probably going to be about. It doesn't necessarily mention the characters from that movie, but I'm looking forward to reading this one. The next one will be The Princess of Selgove and the High King. This is book 1 in the series. I'm not exactly sure. It doesn't say what the series is called, but I won this through Bookish First a few months ago. I still haven't gotten to it, and I want to get to it. I'm hoping to read it this month, but if not, hopefully next month or in November. And this one's basically about a princess who thinks she has an idealistic life and is shattered when a sire invades her kingdom. So it basically talks about that. The next one is The Women of Winston's. This is a 1950s mystery. It has 4 different stories in it, so I'm hoping to get to this very soon and see if I like it. I won this through Barber Publishing's review crew. The next one I won also through Barber was What I Promise You by Liz Tolma. This is book 2 in Echoes of the Past. I'm hoping to read book 1 and this one either this month or in November. The next one I want to read is Dance With Me by Luann Rice. As you know, I've read several Luann books before. I'm hoping to read this one as well. This one is basically about a woman who left the apple orchards of Rhode Island, fleeing memories that could tear her families apart. So it's like a mystery. So I'm looking forward to reading that one. The next one will be Razor Sharp by Fern Michaels. I've read a couple of her books. I've only liked one of them, which was a wedding one. Hopefully I'll like this one. This is about the sisters. This is part of the Sisterhood series, which I've read one of those, and I really liked it. Oh, Fast Track, and I guess that's the only one I have. Fast Track by Fern, and I really liked it. So I'm hoping I'll like this one as well. It's about the sisters that want to repay a debt. So they go to this attorney and basically talks about that. The next one by Luann is Home Fries. This is basically about a woman who returns to the home where she grew up, leaving her Manhattan life in the harsh winter of New England. Even though this is set in the winter, technically it would be a fall read because I hope to read it in December leading up to the first day of winter. The next one will be The Broker by John Grisham. I have not read any of his books. I'm hoping to read them. My cousin in North Carolina has posted on her Goodreads that she's recently read some of his books, and I think she liked them from the rating she put on there. So I'm looking forward to reading these and then letting her know my thoughts on them. The next ones are Cloud 9 by Luann Rice. This one is about a woman who's never seen another birthday before. So basically talks about death, and I'm going to be cautious when I read this since death stories still trigger me after losing my dad in 2021. The next one is Gulliver's Travels. I've never read this one. It's a classic. I'm looking forward to reading it. Hopefully this month, if not, probably in November. And then the next books that I've read that fell off my bed are, here's another one, The Brethren by John Grisham. This is another one I'm going to read and then let my cousin in North Carolina know whether I liked it or not. I don't know if she's read it. I'll have to check her Goodreads to see. The next one would be Born in Death by J.D. Robb and Nora Roberts. I've read some books in this series before. I didn't particularly care for them, but I'm going to try to and see if I like them. Okay, guys. Oh, wait. I got one more. And the last book, I got two more. The last books I'll be reading for fall will be The Divide by Morgan Richter. This book, actually, when I read the synopsis, and I won this through Knopf Publishers, it reminds me of Laguna Beach meets The Real World. Those of you who grew up in the 2000s, you've probably watched those shows when you were a teenager like I did. So this book reminds me of that, and I'm hoping I will like it. So I'm looking forward to reading this. It's set in November, so I'm hoping to read it in November, but maybe I'll read it toward the end of next month. I don't know. And the last book I have, which I have to read next week to get the review up for the author, since this is being released on October 1st, is A Hush at Midnight by Marlene Bell. As you remember, I read the Annalise series. I did a couple videos about that. So I'm really looking forward to this one. This one's completely different. This is more of a celebrity shelf. She dwells on the horror of finding her mentor's body in the groundskeeper's bed, and the pillow and bedding are half covering her eyes. So basically it talks about a murder in Texas. Completely different from the Annalise series, but still has that same excitement going on. So I'm looking forward to reading this, and hopefully I'll like it so I can keep this one as well. That's it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed my fall TBR video. I will have this up on Sunday, which is tomorrow. Today is Saturday. So I'm hoping you guys will like it, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.